all the money that's been put into these offensive players to compete for something that Cincinnati, this window's not going to last forever. And
Joe Burrow said it's his whole career, man.
Yeah, which is fantastic. But maybe sometime during his career we'll change the start.
All of that is right. But I think, and I actually think T. Higgins feels like you feel, but I do feel like he's not saying, oh, it's not a big deal. I think he, as a team leader, as they were talking about on the interview, I think he's just like, look, we know we're tired of hearing about this. And we don't want to, like, talk about it constantly to where these first two games become so big that, you know, it's almost paralysis by analysis. No, I'm saying when he says we're going to go out, we just got to go out there and execute. I just think he's trying to downplay. You know how when there's big games and all the players say, I'm sure from the coaches, we're just treating it like a regular game. I think he's like, we're just trying to not make these games too big, but let's go out there and do what we need to do and execute. We all know we need to win them. I just think he's trying to not let it get too big.
Bro, the one game they won over that time period was in overtime against Minnesota.
No, I get all that. We all know that it's not even just a narrative. It's a fact. But I just think he doesn't want all the players walking around saying, man, these first two games.
Why don't you just be saying must win? Like, when we do the must win, that's a must win.
For us, yes.
They are 100% on a must win.
Yes, 100%.
100% that is a must win.
I think T might also feel like, if I had played the first two last year, we'd have won. Because what is true, the last couple of years with T. Higgins, they're 15-9, and without T. Higgins, they're 3-7. And so I think there's that piece of it. I also, listen, I think Zach Taylor has, of all the coaches that don't have a hot seat, his is the hottest. I think of every coach that we're not saying is like on the hot seat, he has the hottest seat.
He's got the warmest seat.
No. He has the hottest cold seat.
Oh, I was just saying the hottest warm seat.
No.
His seat's warm.
I
just think it's hot and cold?
Yeah, exactly. I think it's binary, but he has the hottest of the cold seats. Let that.
Okay. And then that's the end of the segment. Okay. I've been witnessing a lot of people talking past one another a lot recently. It happened with Dan Orlovsky and Stephen A. Smith, which I guess is kind of typical. But now here with what Bruce saying and Mangini, like, no one's saying that it's not important to get off to a stronger start, to win these games. But there is the logic. I always talk about this, right? You accept the reality of a situation, and that's fine. You have to. You can't be delusional. You have to accept the reality. But it doesn't mean that you have to keep talking about it and solidifying it again and again and again and again. The analogy is when you ring that bell, you don't keep ringing it. Or when you turn on the light switch and the lights turn on, you don't keep flicking the switch up. Like, the lights are on now. So it's this acknowledgement. The team has acknowledged we got to get off to a better start and all that. We got to do this, that. And then that's it. You all accept that this has been a problem. You're going to change your preparation. You're going to make some adjustments going into week 1, week 2. But it doesn't mean you have to keep now drilling onto it again and again and again. But it was funny to hear Nick admit, oh, they're a lot better when T. Higgins is there. And it's like, interesting. Interesting to admit that T. Higgins missed a third of the season last year. And he had a terrible O-line. Joe Burrow had a terrible O-line, a terrible defense, no run game, and one person to throw the ball to. And we expect him just to be able to make magic out of nothing. And it's just not how football works, man. You could do it occasionally, not reliably. And so, yeah. So I can appreciate that. Because T. Higgins also is a wide receiver. It's different for him than, say, Joe Burrow. A different leadership role, different level of preparation. And so you can make the argument that a T. Higgins, it is better for him just to kind of be like, nah, I'm not thinking like that. We don't get off to slow starts. Like, kind of like, yeah, and when I'm playing, we're great. And that's kind of what he needs for his confidence. I don't love that confidence when it's coming from a quarterback, because I think you need to have a little bit more of a of a well-rounded 360-degree perspective. A wide receiver doesn't. Especially a wide receiver who's not even technically the wide receiver one. But even a wide receiver one, maybe not so much. And I think that's okay. I definitely expect quarterbacks to say different things than wide receivers, running backs, linemen, etc., etc. But I still believe, though, kind of this whole idea of that, like, we have to just keep banging our heads on this drum again and again and again. It's not the right way to go about it, and it is a way to make the locker room and the team tighter than they need to be. And there could be this feeling, right, where it's like, oh no, if you don't get off to this perfect start, it's like, here we go again, and that's not the way through it. It's not the way through it. Now, I disagree with the idea of also, hey, it's just another game. Because then you're lying, right? Because they try to do that. Oh, we treat the Super Bowl, the playoffs, and it's just another game, right? Just one quarter at a time, 1 week at a time. Like, that's always what people preach, and you do have to just focus on what's in front of you. But you also just can't lie to yourselves either. Like, it's a fascinating balance. I really do find that fascinating, because there's a lot of wisdom in just like, we're not worried about week 14, 15, 16. We're just worried about week 9 right now. That's all we can focus on. We're not worried about the playoffs. We're not there yet. I know we're 11-1, but like, we're just focusing on next week, right? And there's a lot of wisdom in that. And same thing, it's the Super Bowl. At the end of the day, it is just football. Yeah, we know it's the Super Bowl. We know that there's a lot at stake here, but at the end of the day, it's the second quarter, 7 minutes to go, 3rd and 3. Shouldn't matter whether it's the Super Bowl or whether it's week 4, right? Like, and when you really zoom in and reduce it, and I get it, but at the same time, it's like, you can't lie to yourselves either, because you all do know what's at stake. You do know that each situation is different, that the pressure is different. You do feel it. You sense it. And my philosophy and what I've always found helpful and what I've always been taught is kind of like, you just feel it and you just keep moving. You don't make something bigger out of it than nothing. When I was first trying to become more confident, just even in my own life, like not even sports wise, because I was always, was weirdly more confident on a field than off it, honestly. But it was just like, oh, you're supposed to do like some deep breathing, take some deep breaths and, go in for 4 and out for 4 and like all this type of stuff. And like, I found that made things worse, because it was like making a bigger deal out of something, and it need not be. If I felt my heart racing, fast or whatever it was like, yeah, whatever. And you just go with it. It's like, yeah, okay, I'm nervous, or yeah, my heart's beating a little fast. I'm thinking about a lot. I'm thinking about all the things of how this is going to go wrong, whatever. Let's get after it. And my mentality has always been like, just trust myself to rise to the occasion. And that was like one of the best coaching advice I ever got. Just trust yourself that you're going to rise to the occasion. And make no mistake about it, you're still putting all the work, you're still practicing, you're still doing everything you need to do. But when it's time to step up, you just trust yourself. Yeah, you rise to the occasion. You'll rise to the occasion. You got this. And that found that incredibly beneficial, incredibly helpful. So, I don't know what, I see Mangini, and he's like, he just reminds me of like a supervisor I had when I was working at the inpatient facility, and he was just, and I had multiple supervisors, and I guess I messaged the wrong supervisor for when I wasn't going to be there. And he was like, you can't do that. You got to reach out to me. There's that. And I was like, okay, I get it. He's like, your communication needs to be better. And I was like, I got it. Definitely. I hear you loud and clear now. And he's just like, he still wanted to yell at me. He like wanted me to suffer. He wanted me to feel the weight more of the moment. And I'm like, I got it. I registered it. You told me that I need to communicate more. I promise you, from this point forward, I'm going to communicate better with you. We don't have to talk about this now for the next 15 minutes. Like, do you want me to cry? Do you want me to be like, I'm so sorry, I didn't mean to do this? You expressed what you need from me. There was a little bit of confusion on my part. It's not there anymore. Now let's move forward. But there's some people that just want to linger and wait on it and drill down again. And like, that's what Mangini was doing right now with Brew. He was just like, no, this has been bad. And this is the problem. And this is this. And this, it's like, coach, I got it. I get it. I made a mistake. I dropped the ball. I threw a bad throw. I was late. Like, I get it. I made the mistake. I get that it's a difference between winning and losing. I get that. I know that. I'm not dumb. You don't have to keep drilling it. I always hated when coach would do that. If you make a mistake, you do this, you do that. It's just like they would want to just keep going and going. It's like, I heard you the first time. You keep going is not going to make me better, actually. It's actually not. And I told this story before, and it's one of my favorite coaching experiences I've ever had. Where, like, I made a mistake, I made an error, and I came onto the sideline and I was like, man, I'm sorry, I messed up. And my coach was like, it's all good. He's like, I know you're awesome. He goes, I know you're great. I know it won't happen again. It's all good. He wasn't like, what are you doing? You lost focus. You got to do this. None of that. He was like, no, you're good. I get it. Like, you made a mistake. It happens. I'm not going to make something bigger out of this because I know, because he knows it wasn't lack of preparation. He knows it wasn't lack of focus. He knows it wasn't just because I wasn't good enough. It just happens. And the same thing actually ironically happened with Devontae Smith, where he dropped the ball. And they were like, oh, they're pretty much like the media. Just like, how does it feel that you dropped this ball and that you didn't catch it and now they lost? And he was just pretty much like, yeah, man, it's unfortunate. It just happens. Like, I'm not going to sit there now and marinate in this moment and now build this up into bigger than it needs to be. And like, that's what the Bengals need to do. They acknowledge, they don't deny that it's a problem, but now it's time to move on. So it's just like, even drilling this down, can Cincy afford another slow start? It's like, I don't even know what that question means at this point. I mean, we don't know how the season's going to unfold. Like, what does that even mean? If people were like questioning how good of a quarterback Joe Burrow is, and there's a backup quarterback who's like played pretty great when Joe Burrow was injured last time, and now they're like, will Joe Burrow get benched? Can he afford to get off to a slow start, or will he be benched? Like, no. Can Joe Flacco afford to get off to a slow start, or is Shedeur Sanders going to start for him? Like, that actually makes that question makes a little bit more sense. It's just, if anything, it's like, I'd rather ask the question, can the Cincinnati Bengals afford to have another awful defense? Is this offense good enough to overcome it? And even that question's like, I don't know. I mean, it depends how good the other offenses are for the other team. I mean, like, so I just, we just keep drilling on this again and again and again. And, gosh, we are just so close, man, to real football talk. I remember this last year now. I'm just getting hit in the face where we're just like, we've done our lists. The preseasons we can only talk so much about them, and there's only so many young quarterbacks to really use as a jumping off point for preseason content. I mean, like, who really cares what Joe Burrow does in the preseason? I don't care. I know that. I don't care what Mahomes does or Josh Allen, Lamar, Jay, like none of those guys. You really have to just rely on like the young quarterbacks, like the Shedeurs, the Cams, JJ McCarthy's, but even that is pretty limited. And now we're just going to be like, can Cincy afford another slow start? And now we're going to start talking about like, what is T. Higgins thinking about the slow starts? And it's just like, I don't know, man. It's like, come on. Just a few more weeks. But those are just my thoughts. I'd absolutely love to hear yours. What do you guys all think about the Cincinnati Bengals? Do you think they can afford another slow start? What do you think was going through T. Higgins' mind about him not liking the narrative of getting off to a hot start? Let me know in the comments below. I read every single comment, so whether you agree with me or disagree with me, either way, let's get in some discussions, let's get in some fights, but ultimately, let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We are building an amazing community here, and I absolutely love to see you part of it. I want to build something that we all genuinely feel connected to, something that we're really excited to be part of. I think we're on our way to doing it. Please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it really does help the visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much. See you next time.